overwhelming pushback from the president, his staff, the governor of Arizona, apparently more than 1 million ballots still to be counted. I'm not privy to the math. I'm not certain how that, even after the explanation from Chris Direwolf, how that decision was made. So I'm sure there was a reason for it. I don't know what it is. I do know that people are very concerned about the media in general. I think our viewers trust us, but people are concerned. I do know as a factual matter that the claim, and I think I'm quoting now, our pre-election polls were really, really good, is just not true. And if that were true, then the New York Times wouldn't have given Joe Biden a 70% chance this morning of winning Florida. Some polls were good, a lot were bad. And I know that the impulse always for everyone, me, you, everybody, is self-justification, etc. But we should be honest about, and I'm not specifically talking about Fox News, but the media more broadly, we should be honest about the times that we were wrong. And some of these polls were wrong, and I think many of them probably were wrong for honest reasons, but wrong nonetheless. And that's a problem. That's misleading, and we should cop to it, I think.
One of the reasons that they may be wrong, Tucker, is something that we've talked about so much, which is this shy Trump vote, right? So you look at Florida, look at Ohio, look at Texas. You've got the president winning those areas by, roughly 4 or 5%, something in that ballpark. And every one of the polls that we looked at, even the ones that tightened in recent days, had them in razor thin margins in all of those areas. So it raises that question, how much is the shy Trump vote, right?
Right.
Is it just that the people that they're talking to are telling them the truth? They're just not talking to the right people?
I think you're absolutely right. But the most basic question it raises is this a free country? If you are afraid to express a legitimate political view in public, if you believe you could be fired for it or banished from polite society for it, is it a free society? And the answer, of course, is no, it's not. And that's a betrayal of the basic promise of America. I'm not overstating this. And by the way, if this were happening to Joe Biden voters, whom I did not vote for, I would say the same thing. You don't want to live in a country where you don't feel free to tell others who you're voting for, especially if it's a major party candidate. So that's a huge dysfunction at the center of our society. And the fact that we just accept it as normal, I think says something bad about us. And we really should, no matter who wins tonight, work to make this a free country going forward. Can I say something really quick?
Yeah.
I just think we should pay attention to the realignment underway. Again, this is separate and distinct from the ultimate winner of the race. There's a county in Texas, many counties in Texas, but Starr County, Texas, which is right at the bottom of South Texas on the Mexican border. It's one of the poorest counties in the country, I think the third poorest. The per capita income is $7,000 a year. And it's the most Hispanic county in the United States, 96%. So 4 years ago, Hillary Clinton won this county. A Democrat has won it every year since Benjamin Harrison. She won it by 60 points. Joe Biden won it by 5 points. So that's in the most Hispanic county in America, a swing of 55 points over one presidential term. So that is a huge change. And the thing, from my perspective, that it tells you is that not everything is racial. White liberals tend to racialize everything, but for most people, economics and culture make the difference. And you're seeing the Republican Party become a party of wage earners in a way that it never has been ever since Abraham Lincoln started it. And I just think that is maybe the biggest change to come out of the Trump first term. And I think it's something that will kind of define politics in this country for a long time. And we should pay a lot of attention to that. Again, people are voting along economic lines, not along the clean racial lines that intersectionality and all these other dumb theories suggest that they would. People who make less are voting Republican in bigger numbers. That's just a big thing. It's never been that way. Now it is.
Is the polling industry dead?
I really hope so. And I can name some of the people who should be fired immediately, and I think I will. I just need to calm down enough to get their names on paper. But clearly, look, the instinct of this is true in every industry, because this is a function of human nature, but you cover for yourself and you think of an excuse, your children do it. Well, there's a good reason I did. Okay. No, you screwed up and you have to acknowledge it in order to get better. But we in the media, I think, are particularly good at pretending that there's some reason that we misled our viewers or our readers. And we really should stop doing that because too much is at stake. And the first way to fix it is by holding the people who screwed up accountable, and that's just by firing them. And they can go do something useful like hang drywall or learn to paint or do something else. But they cannot keep discrediting the work of the rest of us by screwing up in the way that they have. I think that's a fair ask.
Yeah, I mean, I would just mention with regard to your earlier thought, Tucker, about the shy Trump vote and then the polling on top of it. If pollsters, the freedom of expression, I've seen so many front lawns during the course of this where there's signs for the Republicans who are lower down on the ticket, but not a Trump sign, right? So it's like shy Trump voter, down, up and down the street because they are afraid that if they put a Trump sign out that, something might happen to their house, or they don't want their neighbors to know who they're voting for, but it's evident. So it's clear that a lot of these pollsters are not, no matter what they do, they're not going to be able to reach some of these folks.
And they should open restaurants. Do you know what I mean? They're going to fix transmissions, and that's great. Those are honorable jobs.
Tucker, as always, thank you. Congrats on the ratings.